All right, welcome once again to Riding Every Day. This should be a ride along in beautiful Grapevine, Texas. We're going to start with the tell, show, do. Tell you what we're going to do, then we'll show you what we're doing. And hey, if you want to do it yourself or do something similar, maybe this sparks an idea for you, that's all cool as well. So today we're doing, let's call it, this is a super safe ride. You know, obviously I lean towards those to begin with, but I mean, there's almost, except for a couple of crossings, there's almost zero road time on this one, but it will be a mixed surface. And the beauty of this one, it's August in Texas, and this is the middle of the day, and we've got shade. It's not fully shaded, but a little bit of shade goes a long way when it's mid-90s and higher. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And so, like I said, this one's going to be a multi-surface. Obviously, we're starting out on a paved path right now. Files will be in the comments. The ride with GPS and most likely Strava links, assuming everything goes well. And we are starting kind of from a far end. So we're going to do a long out and back. That's going to pick up a little bit of everything. And this is a fantastic skill builder and saddle time builder for those that are wanting to take their gravel stuff to that next level, or their adventure stuff to that next level. Lots of paved trail. We've got some gravel trail in the mix as well. Not a bunch, but there's a little bit there. And if that's where your comfort level ends with dirt under your tires, you can do that and build up your skills a little bit. And I'll show you a couple ways to, hey, let's get our feet a little wet if we want to try out a little bit of easier mountain bike trail. I know I've said it before, and I'll say it almost every episode. I am a huge proponent of using single track, using mountain bike trail on your gravel bike to build your unpaved comfort levels and skill set. And we'll definitely talk about that more in depth as we get on a little bit of the single track. And don't be afraid of the single track. It's a fantastic skill builder, and there is no shame. If you come across anything you're not comfortable with, you can walk it. Don't worry about it. And we'll talk about it when we come to a few of those spots. So we're going to be doing a paved trail network along the shores of Lake Grapevine Lake. Picks up Oak Grove Park and some other stuff. And see, more shade. I like shade. And then we're going to end up in the horseshoe trails, which has it's a mix of paved trails, a little bit of gravel, and about 3.5 miles, I think, if memory serves me correctly, of single track mountain bike trail. And my goal is to do all of the horseshoe trail in the mix. I'm not sure what our mileage is going to end up being. I need to do a 2-hour ride today. Need to get caught back up on my saddle time. I actually had 2 days off in a row after the midnight mash. Sunday, just because I was tired and sore. I rode in the midnight mash. That part didn't get me too sore. It's just all the event set up and tear down and lugging stuff around and all that. My knees pay for that one. So I intentionally took Sunday off, had every intention of riding Monday, but I was going to ride last night, and I was feeling it in my knees yesterday, or my right knee. And it's like, we're not going to push it. We're going to take one more day off and rest the knee. And it feels much better today. Man, that's not like a big gunshot. Maybe it was just a board falling or something. So I'd like to get 2 hours in today, just to kind of get somewhat caught up on my target time for the week, saddle time for the week. But if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to worry too much about it. I honestly have no idea how long the single track's going to take me. I am very, very, very out of practice on single track. So I will most likely be given some examples of, there's no shame in walking this. I'm probably going to have, it's been a long time since I've been to Horseshoe to begin with. It used to be a standard. I used to work out this way, and I hit this at least once a week, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. But yeah, this is a little bit of a mix of everything, and you can run it in a bunch of different ways to kind of mix it up. I mean, some people just love a routine, and here's my 17-mile loop, or my 17-mile, whatever it is. Here's my 12 miles that I do. I'm one of those, I like to mix it up. I get bored doing exactly the same thing over and over. And there's plenty of options here, and we'll come up to one in a moment to paint the picture. Yeah, right here. So we can go straight here and stay on this paved trail. That's what we're going to do this time. Just at least on the front end, stick to a basic plan. Make sure to hit all of our high notes. But we could also go right and go down by the lake and learn to shift gears properly. Actually, this bike's overdue for a tune-up. I need to take it back. Yeah, it's too dirty. I can't drop it off at the duck after this. I have to clean it first. I'll bring it by the duck later this week. We're throwing some miles on this tributary here. I want to say we're probably going to be in the 750 range. Maybe after this ride. We'll hit 750 this week. I'm almost certain of that. Ooh, it's warm. Glad we got shade in the mix today. I did get started later than I really wanted to. I would prefer to have, what time is it? It is 10:55. I would definitely have preferred to have been rolling by 9 o'clock at the latest. But I got to thinking about it. It's like, all right, this ride along video is going to feature shade, so let's make sure the shade works the way we think it does. Now that said, shade or no, yeah, going through third puberty, shade or no, you don't want to ride in this heat if you're not heat acclimated. And Saharan dust acclimated. Oh, the Saharan dust kicking my ass this week. Now I'm not intimating that I am the most heat acclimated fellow out there by any stretch of the imagination, but I have been consciously working on that for the past several weeks. So I would say that riding within my means, I am heat tolerant at the moment. But man, I am not Saharan dust tolerant. Oh my gosh. And that said, today's ride will not be at target heart rate per se. The goal is to not exceed my target heart rate. Holy hell. I will be taking some allergy medicines when I get home. This is ridiculous. So, what did I do? 2.5 hours at the midnight mash the other night. Actually, a little bit higher than my regular target heart rate, and I did perfectly fine with that. So I think the training block's going well. I think we're on plan. But I mean, we're not. It never stops, but we're not. We're still pouring the foundation. We have not set the base. We have not set the foundation yet, but we're definitely making progress. So yeah, today's going to be. Well, I say we're going to try to not go over target heart rate, but now I'm thinking twice about that. Because we're putting single track in the mix, and even with an e-bike and assistance, once you start getting on a single track, and this is not a tough mountain bike trail by any stretch of the imagination, but it does have ups and downs in it. Even with the e-bike assistance, it's really easy to spike the heart rate on single track. And that is the one thing for mountain bike riders to get into a training routine. It can get difficult because you have to be very, very cognizant of the fluctuations of your heart rate, because it's really easy to spike it up and down when you're riding mountain bikes. When you're grinding gravel, when you're riding the road, you get into a rhythm and you just maintain it, and it's real easy to ride a certain heart rate. But when you have to jump on climbs, and even when you're mountain biking, even your heart rate can spike on the descents too, just from the excitement of it. There'll be times when you're coasting downhill, but you're coasting at nearly 40 miles an hour. The heart rate goes up there, trust me. Now, we're not going to be coasting anywhere near 40 miles an hour on this trail. So some of this was underwater with the elevated Grapevine Lake not too long ago. But now, mountain bike trail's open. Still some dirt on the paved trail here. That's one way up there. But we're going to save the mountain bike trail for later. So we're going to start out on the pavement here. We'll take a couple of offshoots that give us a touch of gravel. And basically we'll get to the other end of this park and we'll start the single track, hopefully do the full loop and come back. I'm not sure how much saddle time that's going to give us, how much mileage that's going to give us, but we're just going to ride within our means. Now, even though this is a shorter ride, I do still have the bike set up basically for all day multi-surface / ramble riding. I mean, hi there. Hello. Means I've got all my water bottles. I've got 4 water bottles, all my bags, a little bit of food. And that's more, even though, no, I'm not going to need 4 water bottles today. I want to see how but everything, it's not just the bottles, it's got water in them. I want to see how the bike's going to handle on the single track loaded down. I want to see how, if I go through a rock garden, if it pitches a loaded water bottle out of the fork mount or something like that. Because you don't want to learn that stuff, for lack of a better term, the hard way, when you need it and you lose that bottle. All right, so if I remember right, maybe not, we'll see. I think this is our first little gravel detour here. Yep, looks like. Like I said, it's been a while. And maybe gravel's a little bit of an overstatement, but old rough park road. And this will just be a little out and back section, and you see where the mountain bike trail itself does cross around here and there. And this is where, like, you can go down to the end of this and catch a little loop of single track if you want to try out the single track. And like I said, it's been a while since I've been here, so let's see. I think we may double back and catch it over here, but let's see what the layout's like. There we go. We'll go in there. Go down here. So a nice little view of the lake. And I'm sure this was underwater. All right. So like I said, if you don't want to do any of the single track, that's perfectly fine. Take these little offshoots. You get a little bit of rough road experience in the mix here. But let me show you. So we can do that hairpin turnaround, and we can just catch a little section of single track. Goes off to the right here, and this is a one-way trail. So clockwise, yeah, basically clockwise is the direction. So this is basically just one lane wide gravel for all intents and purposes. This section through here isn't anything crazy. That just goes out to the picnic table. So we're going to take this little turn here. And you don't need a mountain bike for this. Gravel bike is awesome. This is a fantastic way to just work on your unpaved skill. Take it across the road. So a little bit of wiggle in the trail here, but look, no rocks or obstacles or anything like that. A little bit of rock there, some roots. Pedal up through a little bit of it. I wouldn't even call it an uphill, just a little bit of an incline with a little bit of loose. And then we're back on the road out. Now when we do the full single track, I'll point out that section again. So you throw a little bit of that into the mix even when you're just doing, in the air quotes, paved ride. A little bit here and there, it just helps build that skill set. A little bit of practice. And we'll definitely be talking more about the details of how to work on your bike handling and so forth when we're in the single track sections. So now we're back on the main trail. Morning. 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 All right, here's another little offshoot here. I was about to say, I'm getting a little thirsty. I'm ready for a drink. And hey, my computer's telling me it's time for a drink, so we're going to take them up on that. So that means we're 20 minutes in. Yeah, I haven't been down here in forever. So you don't want to, well, particularly if you're not familiar with the area, but if you haven't been here in a while, or in a place you normally ride in a while, you don't want to be bombing this stuff at, see, just like that. Bombing this stuff at top speed. All right. So we can pick up some single track on this loop too. I'll be honest with you, off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly the best way to do it. So we're just gonna go in here. I think we could have picked up a little more, basically where we almost ran into that guy on the mountain bike, but that's all good. Or are we going the wrong way? I think we're going the wrong way now. Yep. It's been a while. Ooh, yeah, this is gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to this. All right, so we're gonna do it this way. So that hiking sign that you saw, basically the way this trail is configured, and this is kind of a general rule in North Texas, but it's not universal. So don't think it applies to everything. So bikes go this way, and you see there's the hikers go that way. So the idea is for hikers and bikers to go opposite directions. Definitely not all hikers follow that rule. And I understand why they don't. It can be confusing, and a lot of people are just casual trail walkers, don't know any better. But generally speaking, bicycle riders are going to almost always be going the correct direction on the trail. So how did this work? So this is how he came out. And yeah, so he just went left here. Like I said, it's been a while. So we're going to pick up a little bit of this. Oh, this is going to be so much fun. I am looking forward to riding single track. Probably should have bailed there. If we get a bonus section of single track that I have to show you all how to walk, that's fine. I'm definitely looking forward to playing on this thing. Oh, and look at all the shade. This is a great way to ride a bicycle. Fantastic way to get saddle time. And I am on a drop bar mountain bike, but I would have no issue whatsoever just doing this on a standard gravel bike. I'm not going to get into technique at the moment on anything. My technique's terrible. I mostly stay upright. I'm not the right person to be teaching people how to ride a mountain bike. Yeah. So we're going to have a longer section of single track than I was planning, but I'm okay with that. Actually, it says we can go out here. Yeah. Let's take this back to I think this will take us to the main trail. And we'll save our main single track section for later. Yeah, here we go. And we'll see this spot again. We'll see this spot again. This is horseshoes are notoriously, back in the day, they've done excellent work with it more recently, but back in the day, this one was notorious for not getting lost per se, just not knowing which way to go. But they've done a really good job of consolidating the loops and obviously marking it now. So far everything I've seen so far, we'll double check it when we do the whole loop. So far everything I've seen indicates that even if you don't know your way around the trail, you shouldn't get lost. There's also multiple parking areas. I'll show you another one here. Definitely need to get this bike tuned up. All sorts of signage. Alright, so we can take a right here, and it's another few miles of paved trail. It's good riding. And we may incorporate that after we do a loop of single track. We'll see how the timing works out on everything. But I wanted to come up here, and I'll show another parking area when we leave this what I'll call it Horseshoe Park. I think that's what it's called. There's probably a sign here that tells us Horseshoe Dorba Trail. So here's like the main parking area that most of the mountain bikers use. I think this would be an east end of the trail, maybe. I would have to look at the map to verify. I don't think I've seen, this is different than it used to be. Let's see how this, yeah, we used to just kind of hop it up here, but it's all good. All right, so now we're going to do the full single track. So, like, it starts out with a real descent, kind of rooty. Ooh, see? And here I am. I'm out of practice. So, basically, hills like this are going to have erosion. So, no big deal. Stop before you get to it. Put your weight backwards on the bike when you're going downhill. Shift towards the rear of the saddle. And walk it down if you're not comfortable. And then look ahead. So we've got a climb off to the right that we're going to want to utilize. So you'll want to spin up and get acceleration going up the hill, but we've got a nice little flat run up to it. And the sign tells us to go left here. So that's what we're going to do. Like I said, it's been a while since I've been here. That opening section, it gets a lot of traffic. So this first little bit is likely to have more erosion than others. We're creekside here, and it's higher traffic. So I would expect that's probably going to be the rootiest section. We'll see how it goes. It's been a while since I've been on this trail, but I bet outside of a couple unique spots, for lack of a better term, that's probably going to be the gnarliest part of the whole trail. And the rest of it, if it holds to form, will be a bunch of this. There will be a few routes to go across here and there, sweeping turns. That's really good experience on the gravel, for the gravel. Again, when you come to obstacles like roots, rocks, don't be afraid to roll your front wheel over them. And we'll talk about that, but take your weight a little back. Take the weight off the front end of the bike and put it towards the back end of the bike. That way the front wheel rolls up and over the stuff as opposed to planting itself there and your weight potentially bringing you to a dead stop. And as you're getting familiar with stuff, slow down going into the turns and pick your lines. And if you come across something you're not comfortable with, go ahead and stop and dismount and walk it to a flat spot and start pedaling again. Don't don't, if you don't have the single track experience, if you don't have the single track background, don't think that your focus is to, okay, so here's two options. So that's a rougher option there. I don't want to do that today. So here's a more mellow option this way. So we roll this way. So that's a good example of where I was going. So see, here's still a little bit of a descent. So work on your skill. I have my ass hanging out over the back of my saddle, my chest low, getting my weight in the right place. The same position probably would have got me over that tougher section too, but the learning isn't doing the tough section and making a mistake and eating shit. That's not how you learn. You learn by progression, doing the easier stuff first, and as you get more comfortable with that, then you attack the tougher stuff. Yes, you will learn your lesson if you attack the tougher stuff sooner than you should. Unfortunately, you could either hurt yourself or just be having so little fun that you don't want to do it anymore. And that would suck, because this shit's fun. Yeah, just watch where you're going. Pick your lines. So we've got a left and a right option here. We're going to go left. Let gravity do its thing. Gives us some momentum. Going up the other side here. A little bit of a climb. Spin, 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 and here we go. Brings up a good point, particularly for those newer to single track mountain bike riding. Find an easier gear that you can spin through and get comfortable on that, even if you spin out on the faster sections. Basically, as you're getting acquainted with it, I recommend mostly single speeding. Just find that one gear that you can maintain momentum on the flats, but you could still go up a climb and not stall out. Here's a little bit of sand. That's a good learning experience. Obviously, we get sand on the dirt and gravel roads too. So, and this bike's terrible in sand. Okay, so here's a rooty section here. This is tough. This is tough. So we push through, and then we got rocks. Again, I'm out of practice. There's no shame. I'm gonna walk it. This line right here is probably how I would have tried to ride it as well. But this is my first time on a full mountain bike trail in literally years. So I need to find my sea legs, so to speak. So here's a drop here. More of the same. Only made it 5 feet. Get to an uncomfortable spot. Trust me, I know how to do this drop. It's not really a drop, but just showing you all an example. Interesting. Oh, there's the sign right there. I was like, they've done such a good job of signage. There it is, right there. I knew that was the way we were supposed to go. I was looking for the signage itself, for those that didn't know the way to go. So here's a good skill builder for me. Let me get back on the bike here. Probably doesn't look like, and it's not bad, but if you've never ridden mountain bikes or single track, this could be a little sketch section here. And this is definitely outside of what I've ridden in a while. So Kevin's gonna work on his weight shifting and balance and see if he can still ride this halfway decent. Pick a line and so forth. And just get through it, roll down the rock, and interesting. like I said, it's been a while. Erosion has definitely hit this spot. This is an isolated little spot. And to be fair, this was probably underwater a month ago when the lake was flooded. And see, this is an example. Back on the bike, pedal up. It's going to be a little rooty here and a rock to go around. All very manageable. A little bit of an uphill, but nothing you can't pedal through. But this is an example of what I was talking about on the heart rate. I'm taking it easy, but just that work, I'm still up over 150 beats per minute on the heart rate. And there's the weight shifting to the back. You don't have to huck it. If you're comfortable hucking, go for it. But just shift the weight towards the rear, take the weight off the front end. Let that front wheel do its job and roll over stuff. You don't have to pop a wheelie to clear it. The wheel itself, the circumference of the wheel will overcome the vast majority of obstacles. It's when it's repeating obstacles one after another, go from a root to a shelf rock or a hole in the trail, that you can lose your momentum on one and the second one will stall you out. So along those lines, momentum is important, but momentum isn't speed. Momentum is just rolling at a rate that won't get overly slowed down by the obstacles you come across. And momentum is your friend. Like right there, that's a good drop. Another root there. Here we go. And there we go. There's an example. So that was 3 obstacles in a row. I was shooting for 2. I think I would have made it on 2, but I went too far to the right. So I caught this middle one, lost my momentum to carry the third. But since I was aware of it, even though I stalled out, I just leaned to the right, put a foot down, and here we go. It's all good. Oh, I'm so glad to be on a mountain bike trail again. This makes me happy. All right, so there's that sign. That's another one where 99 times out of 100, no problem making that. But I was making sure I was going the right direction and gave up my momentum. But next time I get there, I'll know that. So I can carry my momentum through and not get hung up there. Going to the left. Arrow to the left, arrow to the right. And I'm intentionally hitting this at a slower speed. Obviously, anyone comfortable on a mountain bike is going to be watching this video and going, oh my God, he's going so slow. But I'm demonstrating that you can roll this stuff at lesser speed. So here's that second single track section that we hit. So we're doing this over again, telling us to drink. We're going to stay on top of our hydration. Pull off to the side a bit here just in case somebody comes up behind us. I don't drink bottles on single track usually. I bring bottles with me, but I'll stop to drink most of the time, particularly on a twisty, turny trail like this one. Hell, we may end up going through 4 bottles. Man, I'm glad we're in the shade. Alright, so we're supposed to stay left here. Remember, that's the spot where that mountain bike came out on us. So lots of good signage, map markers, emergency extraction, mileage or spot designation markers, however it's set up there. I don't know specifically. Hopefully I don't have to find out. And I'm not implying that if you've never ridden this stuff before that this is easy. I'm not trying to paint that picture at all. If you've never ridden anything like this and you come out here on a gravel bike, you are probably at some point along the way going to take a little spill. But the reality is you're going to be going less than 5 miles an hour when you do it. And as you get more comfortable with it, then somewhere along the way you'll take a spill at 7 miles an hour. And we all take tumbles at one time or another. All right, here's where we turned right last time to get back to the paved trail. So this will be new single track to us for today. We're going to stay left and take the upper here, a little bit more of a groove trail. And when in doubt, just look at the groove that already exists. See where most of the people's tires are packing down the trail. A little bit of sand here. Don't get carried away going through turns you can't see beyond. Look around them before you commit too much. A little sand there. All right, how does this work these days? I'm going to assume we're going to gear down and pedal up. I know this goes uphill. Stay right, it says. Okay, this is a little gnarly. So we're going to dismount. It's actually not super difficult, but you have to know how to attack it before you get to that point. So next time we'll be able to get up here, I'm confident. But getting beyond these rocks is pretty doubtful. So, but you use this opportunity when I do come back next time. If I do want to try to ride it, how do I want to try to ride it? I'm not going right up the middle over the rocks. It looks like most people go this way. But to be honest, the preferable line is probably that one to the right. But this will be the easier walking line. And keep in mind, I've got 60 plus pounds of bike that I'm pushing through here. If you're on a regular gravel bike, that's a piece of cake. So we're going left here, per the signage. Now this is where it can get tough when you remount. It's real easy when you get up on the bike, you kind of lean forward, but you're going straight downhill. So you want to be conscious of push yourself back when you start out, and then shift your weight forward. Because if you start out on that first pedal stroke leaning over the bar, that could be less than ideal. And that's all I'm doing. I'm just coasting down that with my butt hanging over the back of my saddle and my chest to the lower side. And here's a triple rooter. Take the momentum up and over. Oh, not sure where that happened. Probably when I pushed the bike. Had it all the way turned up to turbo mode. If I'd have known that, yeah, it's best I didn't try to make that rocky climb. So out of practice, I probably still would have ate shit. So I'm making a point to cool back down a little bit now. Like I said, I got the heart rate up a little higher than I wanted. And this is that first single track section we checked out. So I'm just doing a little bit more exploring. How does this work? What's going on down here these days? So I can get out to this point on the lake. Nice little spot for a picnic. Fish jumping. Get back out here. So now we're back to where we did that first little single track section. So this is a little bit of a replay for a short stretch we've been on already, but then you'll see how it transitions to new stuff. So here's the biggest piece of advice I can give to anybody starting with mountain bike trails, mountain bike riding. Focus your eyes. Look where you want to go, not what you're wanting to avoid. It's called target fixation. So if you see something, like we see this root up here, and we don't want to roll over it, but I'm looking at it so I don't roll over it, what I do is I catch a little bit of that root. But up here, I want to go over here as opposed to avoiding the root, and it takes me straight there. Does that make sense? Look to where you want to go. Don't look at what you're trying to avoid. Obviously, you have to see what you're wanting to avoid. And once you see something you avoid, find where you want to go. So like here, we got a little tricky section. Everything's showing up. Oh, okay, now I see it. I want to go right down the middle of that chute. And I want to stay in the middle through the turn. And I'm looking ahead to the next turn. No bikes to the right, so we're going to swing left. And that was one where I was looking at the sand I wanted to avoid, and I didn't look at the left side of the trail, so I missed where I was wanting to go and find the best line through it. Weight back. Pedal through, keep pedaling, keep pedaling, just let your momentum do its work. And you don't have to do it fast. The point is just to keep going. You're going to get your work out of it. I'm not hauling ass here, and I'm still at my 140 beats per minute. You get the fun heart rate bonus where you're not having to turn your legs as hard or breathe as hard to get a little bit of spike in your heart rate. All right, arrow says we're going left. So here's some humps. Here's a hump over a down tree. Weight back. And just momentum over. You don't have to jump it. You don't have to huck over it. Just take weight off the front wheel. All right, so here's one where it looks like an easier line to the left, but it's actually easier to stay right and take a little bit of a drop, properly weighted. Weight back, and weight back. Look where you want to go. Looking up the trail, seeing what I want to avoid, where I want to go. I want to go here and then here. And when I'm saying where I want to go, the spots I'm picking are to not, is to preserve my momentum. So as you get more experience, as you get more comfortable with it, and you are carrying more momentum down the trail, your options go up exponentially. When I'm saying I want to go here, I want to go here, I don't want to go there, it's not that that's a bad place on the trail to ride. It's what's going to rob me of critical momentum, or potentially rob me of critical momentum. If I'm carrying more momentum, I can take it through sketchier stuff, and even if it hits harder or slows me down, I'm carrying enough momentum to keep going. But if I'm doing it soft-footed at an easy pace like we are today, it limits my options to preserve momentum. Mountain bike riding is all about momentum. What do we got going up here? Okay, looks like a rock shelf. Now that's a big root. So that's the case there. I didn't have enough momentum to actually make it over that high part of the root, but I was already unweighted on the front end, so I went ahead and lifted the front end a little bit so I wouldn't lose momentum at the front wheel. And once I got the front wheel over it, just one kick of the pedals. Oh, look at the deer. Hey guys. All good. There's some nice velvet there. Hey baby doll, you're a pretty girl. They're used to people. They're like, what are you doing? It's lunchtime for us. Too damn hot for you to be out here. So again, we're back to momentum is your friend. And situational awareness goes a long way too. I can't believe I was that far past the deer before I saw him. Weight back, chest down. Soak up the shade. Oh, this is beautiful. Tight turn. Brakes. Brakes, brakes, brakes. Don't know if I can teach braking, to be honest with you. It's one of those things, it's just, I'm not conscious of what I'm doing. I just do it. But it's definitely front brake centric. Don't get caught up in what they taught us as kids. Don't use that front brake or you'll go over the bars. No, you need that front brake to do most of your stopping. Just have your weight in the right position so you don't go over the bars. Again, ass end over the back of the saddle goes a long way to keep you on the right side of the handlebars. You guys just don't know how much fun I'm having right now. Oh, I have missed this so much. All right, this will be fun. There we go. Kevin doesn't have his groove back, but it's coming back a little bit at a time. Give me to the end of the year. Give me to the end of the year. Oh, nope. Too much turn and too much lip. Probably could have made it, but I didn't feel like stalling out and having to slam my foot down and tweak my knee. So, call me a wuss if you want to. Discretion is the better part of valor. Kevin wants to stay on the bike this time and not take himself off the bike again. Now what you'll see occasionally is where the trail splits around trees or seems to go in two different directions around an obstacle or whatever. So that's a complicated subject, and a lot of people are very polarized on it. One school of thought is, well, this is the way the trail was laid out. The intent is definitely do it that way. Another school of thought is that's not the natural way to maintain momentum and flow. The trail, when you're taking a turn a certain way or approaching an obstacle or needing to get on the other, there are ways that are not technically easier. It's not, oh, I'm going around the rock. It's like, this is the better line sort of thing. And sometimes a trail will be built specifically to go through what we call a tree gate, for example, a squeeze spot between trees. But over time, as those trees grow, that spot gets narrower and narrower and narrower. And there may be some riders that are uncomfortable with that, that end up maybe to the right of those trees is actually a natural clearing, and people start riding that, and that evolves into the line. I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong, and that's kind of the way how trails can evolve sometimes. All right, just shifting weight back and let momentum do its thing. And this is confusing, sorry. Thinking I was watching where I was going as opposed to the trail markings. I think I was supposed to go left sooner. I'll look at the video and see. But then I got here and I saw this. It used to be, I'm not going to say it used to be anything. Might have just been I was more used to the trail and I was more instinctual for me. I'm going to run with that. So here's the little rock garden in this trail, and I just screwed it up. Bad pedal placement when I started. Most gravel riders, I'm going to suggest you walk this section. Or am I doing it wrong? Did I miss the? Like I said, it's been a while. It's also possible the trail. I think I was just misremembering. I think this will be my turn into the rocky climb here. Maybe? Yeah, here it is. So here's an example of what I was talking about. So I think, if I remember correctly, this goes back 20 years now. I think over here was the designed line originally, where people were expected to take these stair steps up. Time for another drink. We'll do that in a second. But over time, people started taking this middle line and created a new line. And then obviously now even more people are starting to go further left. So what's happening is, yes, people are trying to avoid the more difficult sections, but it's also one of those things, it's not a, you come around the turn, it's like, oh, I've got 3 lines. This looks like the right line for me, or that looks like the right line for me. Most people aren't going to look at that one and go, that's the right line. So, it becomes a quandary, and it's not the people who's riding it's fault, it's not the trail builder's fault, it's not the trail maintainer's fault. But that said, my recommendation is always, when it turns in, if the trail builders, the trail stewards are adamant that they want that to be the line, what they have to do is arrange this to exclude this as the line one way or another. It's not people cheating the trail. It's not people that are trying to cheat the system. It's people that are just literally going with the flow. People aren't consciously going, oh, I'm going to stop here and go up this line instead. People take that turn back there, and their eyes, again, look at where you want to go, not what you want to avoid. So their eyes naturally take them to one of those 3 spots, and that's what they're going to instinctually follow. A little bit of a descent here. Just wait back, a little bit of break. There's a rocky ledge there. Take the momentum going down. Help us go up. Here's another one. People are going left, but the trail's supposed to go right through the middle like that. Now, here's another one. This line off to the left never used to be here. It was very, very distinct that you go down this, but it also wasn't all loose and chugged out like that. It used to just be a rolling rock ledge almost all the way down that hillside. But over time and erosion and people riding bikes and breaking stuff up, it does shift. And I am definitely not able to ride this with my knees right now. And I'm using every bit of these big brake rotors to hold myself up while I walk down that hill. Oh, we didn't take our drink. This is a good spot to take that drink. One bottle down. And it's getting hot. I am glad we're in the shade. If, I'm not sure what our battery situation on this camera is. If it just ends suddenly, most likely that's not me dying or taking a major spill. So we're going this way. I'm going to turbo this just to make sure I do make it up this thing. Or not. That's too much for me to overcome these days with my lack of skill. But yeah, if the camera suddenly cuts out, most likely that's not me dying. That's just the battery dying. I can tell you this, we are not going to be taking that bonus section of paved trail. I'm getting my workout. Left turn. Holy shit. I think we can do this. That takes us back to the paved trail, which just comes up a climb here. So I'm taking my trail knowledge and staying up top. There we go. I maybe avoided 100 yards altogether there, an eroded descent. And what's actually a pretty fun climb, or used to be. I assume it still is, but it's kind of on the technical side. You gotta know what you're doing on it. I'm definitely out of practice. Arrow says we go this way. So this particular trail does get labeled as an easier trail. And on the grand scheme of things, it is. But there's enough challenges to help anybody build their skill set. Even the most advanced mountain bike riders, if you're hitting this stuff at speed, you're going to be working on your skill set and your bike handling. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And if you're not an accomplished mountain biker, there's, a wide variety of levels of challenge in here to work on and build your skills from, but you're never in an overly committed situation. You can always just step off the bike and walk for 10 feet and you'll be fine. So that, hard to explain, but the trail basically works the way it always did. It's the same, the trail's going through the same patches of ground, but trail's a living thing. It's very dynamic, so it's always evolving. So there's routes that weren't there before, or rocks that were there that have gone away. So it's always, every time you ride a trail, it's going to be a little bit different. And the longer it's been since you last rode it, there's going to be just exponentially more options and changes. All right, so this is saying we go this way these days, I think. It's not crystal clear. I think I'd have rather gone the old left way myself. This is completely doable here on this left. We used to go down that chute through there. This didn't used to be a line at all. I don't know if it's supposed to be or not. It's kind of confusing. So I'm going to keep walking this, because we've got a slight creek crossing to an elevation gain. And we're going hard left, just up here, not all the way to the top there. Yeah, I need to cool down. Heart rate is up there, which is fine. Hit that one wrong. So this reinforces a point too. The higher the heart rate gets, the higher your core temperature gets, the more tired you get, the more sloppy your riding brain gets. Even on an e-bike. Arrow says left, we're going left. Arrow says straight, I guess this is straight. Hey Lee, some of this stuff's a touch confusing, just to let you know. Not end of the world confusing, but particularly if someone's never been out here before, that could bring them to a screeching halt. Which way do I go? And there's a little bit of water there. Just a touch. But I'm not sure what that hole's like, so we're not rolling it. Oh, that's a change there. Okay. Trail used to work differently through there. God knows how long ago that was, though. They had it closed off. Sharp left here. I'm calling that one out. My lovely bride ate shit at that turn one day on a cross bike. A, she was going too fast, but that's her nature. 2, a cross bike's even less ideal on stuff like this than a gravel bike most of the time. Typically a cross bike's going to have a higher bottom bracket, a little bit shorter wheelbase for maneuverability. So it's going to be a little top heavy. Not saying it can't be done on a cross bike, obviously it can. If that's all you got, ride the hell out of it, have fun. Just be cognizant of the tendencies is all. Yeah, see, we're easy pedaling and still hanging out at the 150 heart rate. I mean, I'm not dying or nothing. God, I hope not anyway. But the plan was to be in our 130 to 140 range. But that's okay, I needed a good workout. I missed a couple days. And trust me, I am sweating the toxins out of my system. I think this is new, I don't remember that. Weight off the front wheel, pick the back wheel up over with the pedal. See if we can do that multiple times here. Not the cleanest approach, but it worked. Arrows say left. Bigger drop. I couldn't see on the other side of that route, so I took the old man line Arrow says left. Arrow says left. Here we go. Here's the fun flowy stuff again. Not that the other stuff wasn't fun, but this was what I was out here to do today. Not work on my clearing roots technique. But it's good that I did. I obviously needed practice with it. Arrow says right. See, that little bit of practice I've gotten in came in handy. If we'd have hit that the first 5 minutes, I probably would have walked it. But I'm starting to get my rhythm back, my sense of balance. Very loosely term it some technique. I'm not implying that I was ever a skilled mountain biker by any stretch of the imagination. My lack of skills is actually quite legendary. Oh, okay. That was confusing. Okay, makes sense now. Both of the bike arrows point left. That was me trying to catch my breath. We are definitely in the overdone and doing stupid things mode. Not stupid, just brain's a little off, head's a little off, that's okay. We're in cool down mode. Gnomes, the gnome home. We're almost done. And make no mistake, I would love to do another lap, but that would be an evening or morning thing, not a middle of the afternoon thing. Going right according to the arrow. Left per the arrow. Right side per the arrow. Just like my rear tires, a touch low. Not that it's going flat, I think a tad underinflated for these roots and rock ledges. Straight ahead per the arrow. Oh, that feels good. Just a little coast through the breeze. So this is my first time on single track in years, literally. Well, I've done very short stretches here and there. So my first full trail, even though it's a shorter trail, in forever. I honestly don't know how long it's been. Definitely at least 3 years, probably longer, probably significantly longer. But also, my first time riding a familiar trail on an e-bike. Which is an interesting take on it. Telling me to eat. I'm not going to do that till I get back to the car though. Ooh, almost washed in the sand there. So we'll get to the end of the trail, the single track here in just a bit. Have a drink, cool down a touch, and then pedal back. What are we doing? Guess we're going. Oh! No, no bikes. Found the one hole in the side of the road there. That's confusing too. Okay, I guess it's the yellow arrows on the pavement are telling me what to do there. Sorry guys, it's been a while. I'm not gonna tell the trail stewards to do anything different, because if they had other options, I'm sure they would utilize them. Sometimes you just got to work with what you have. We are definitely going to pedal easy back to the car. We've got considerably higher heart rate than we were planning to today, so we've already achieved our workout for the first half of the week, and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't put yourself in a box where you get all bent out of shape if your training plan doesn't go note for note like you had in mind. Just let those unexpected variances help you narrow down what you want to do for the rest of the day. And that's going to go back. So that's not what I thought there used to be. Did I miss it? It's been a while, so it's probably just me being stupid. I thought there used to be an out dirt trail back to the parking lot here, but maybe there wasn't. Oh, that might have been it at one point. Looks overgrown. Let's see what we got. Maybe we missed it. Alright, I'm just going to assume that we were supposed to just turn left here. Alright, so we're going to stop in the shade for a second. Cool down a skosh, get a drink. Alright, so we're at hour 23 into the ride. We are going to turbo this bad boy just until we cool down sufficiently. Just let the e-bike do its thing, get us headed back in the right direction, little breeze, cool down, get that heart rate back down towards 130 where I want to be. And then we'll take some of the magic assist off. Heat has always been my nemesis. Gingers like myself, I'm sure there's some gingers that can handle the heat, but the gingers like myself struggle with it. And I think I even struggle with it more than most gingers. So I have made a conscious effort this year to try to be disciplined in my approach to heat acclimation, building heat tolerance, and it seems to be working. but I know I don't want to get on the wrong side of it, because and I'll know tomorrow. If I went a little bit over the line today and kind of heat zapped myself, I'll pay for it for a week. And if I heat zap myself too bad, I'm not talking heat stroke or anything like that, but if I overdo it too much, I'm screwed up for weeks or months afterwards. I did that at Dirty Kanza one year, 2011, and everybody from Texas that went up there that year struggled with it, because we were actually having a mild spring in Texas. I think it was one of those, we never got above 90 degrees, and I think most of the time we were closer to 80. So usually, in May, we're starting to deal with heat pretty strong. So I was getting my miles in. I was getting properly trained for Dirty Kanza, but we weren't running into the heat, so I didn't get heat acclimated. And at 2011 Dirty Kanza, all right, we're down under 140. We can take a little bit of assistance off. It was stupid hot and humid that year. And I mean, people were falling out left and right prior to 100 miles, let alone 200. And then the 200 milers that year, all that heat and humidity just turned into this huge thunderstorm, hailstorm / tornado that went through the north end of the course and just turned all of that into muck and mud. That was a crazy year. But all that to say, I got zapped really good on that. I pulled out at the midpoint, the 100-mile point, and I was cooked the rest of the summer. And I was probably in the best shape I'd ever been in for endurance riding, but I just wasn't heat trained. And then I was done for the summer. Anything more than 30 minutes on the bike and I was toast. And in reality, for several years after that, I couldn't. And I was probably doing it wrong. I thought I was approaching it smart, trying to get heat acclimated the following summers, and it just never seemed to come together. I'd work on it, but then I'd overdo it on one ride, get zapped, and then I was out of commission the rest of the summer. It's crazy. But by gosh, give me 30 degrees and blustery, I'm fine with that. I can throw on layers to warm up, take them off as I get warm. I'll do cold. I won't do cold and wet though. I'll do wet and warm. That's actually some of the best riding I've ever done is pouring rain. It's just like a kid playing, splashing in puddles. That's fun stuff. But yeah, wet and cold together, that doesn't work for me. Wet and warm, that's fine. Because when it's wet out, that means, I don't know, don't know if I've ever been in a rainstorm that the temperature was still above 90 degrees. I think when the rain hits, even if it's 100 out, it's going to knock the temperature down that much, at least while the rain's falling. All Alright, where are we at? So we're at an hour 30 now. So we're not going to get our 2 hours, but we won't be too far from it. We definitely got a higher heart rate than we were shooting for, so it evens out. I am definitely fine with that, actually. Yeah, the idea was 2 hours at a lower heart rate, so an hour 40, an hour 45 at a higher heart rate. I'm okay with that. On your right. But yeah, we are going to take in our calories when we get back to the truck. Looks like the camera's still going. So this actually what I'm going to do my wrap up now, because everything we've seen, everything we'll see on the way back to the truck is stuff we've already seen. And this is already a lot of video to process to put the overlays on it. So that's what I have to do to get the full overlay. I have to take the whole ride and do an initial edit and process of the whole thing unbroken. And an hour and a half one's probably going to take 2 days for that to actually process once you hit start. After you've done all the edits in the computer and you need it to process it and reassemble it and turn it into one file. I'm not exaggerating, it'll probably take 2 days, because I have one from the other night at the Midnight Mash that's processing right now. And I started it at mid-afternoon yesterday, and it wasn't even to 50% yet when I came this way. So that's a 2-day process. This one's going to be a little bit longer, so this one will be a 2-day process. So, wrap up. At the end of this wrap up, we'll be probably right at 12 miles. It's 12:20. Average pace 7.6 miles per hour. That's single track for you. It'll be at about an hour and 35 when we're done for the total ride time. Plenty high of a heart rate. And I had a friggin' blast. I hope it doesn't sound like I'm complaining about being hot and overheated. It's not what I'm getting at. Painting a picture of ride smart. Don't overdo it. And I'm making a point to not. Hi. So all that said, see you next time.